where heavy metal meets gaming.
Here on YouTube, and also very warm welcome to all my friends from Twitch. Ladies and gentlemen, just give me a second to introduce myself. My name is Svenny, and on the internet I'm called Moquai, and I'm streaming Hearthstone on a channel called MoquaiTV. Some of you may already know me. I'm a German Hearthstone streamer for more than 6 years now. I'm playing Hearthstone for more than 8 years since beta times, and I'm playing almost every day 8 hours. So I would like to introduce myself as a very experienced player. I reached Legend the first time in 2018, back in the March, and went to Legend for approximately 90 times now on the European and the American server. And there's a reason why I have to do this video in English today. Normally my content is in German, but we are talking about a very important reason of this video today. And I hope I can reach out for a brighter audience and may also catch someone from Activision Blizzard. Because, ladies and gentlemen from Activision Blizzard, greetings, we have to talk. There is something wrong with your game called Hearthstone at the moment. And I want to use this opportunity of this video to introduce all of you into the main problem in the world of Hearthstone at the moment, which is power creep, which is mana cheat, which is non-interactivity, and which leads to turn 4, turn 3 shenanigans, which made more people than me quit and stop playing Hearthstone. From my point, I'm already Legend on the European server and close to Legend on the American server. And I will stop play Hearthstone after I reach the Legend ranks. My rank really doesn't matter to me, and I'm not interested in playing that kind of meta that we have at the moment. In my opinion, one of the worst meters we ever had. Maybe we can compare it with the United and Stormwind quest meter, with the quest mage, quest hunter, quest warlock, which was also non-interactive, and we are on that point. Maybe we are above. I'm not quite sure. Ladies and gentlemen, I will split this video into several parts so that we can investigate what is the meter, why is the meter how it is, and maybe what has to change. Ladies and gentlemen, this was part 1, and I will see you over in part 2. Have a good day. See you soon. So welcome back to part 2, and let me show you 2 pictures, 2 tweets from my dear colleagues Denim Blue and Ramses from Twitter. Let's start out with a tweet from Denim Blue. I will show it you in this moment here in the front. 42/43 stats show me a better turn 4. Well, here is the main problem of the meta in Hearthstone at the moment. We are on turn 4. There is still a 3/5 Gnoll waiting on the hand of Denim, which cannot be played because the board is full with 42/43 stats on the board. So it could be worse, but there's simply not more space on the board for playing more minions on turn 4. So the question behind this picture is, who should answer this? Which class, which player is nearly able to answer this board on turn 4? Maybe a priest with a card called Shadow Ruin, but just maybe. The tweet was answered by my dear colleague Ramses, which you may already know, with this picture. Look here, I found a rogue which was able to bring 10/26 stats on the board by turn 2. The same question once again. Who should answer this nonsense? Well, we have a Rougestone meter, like we had several times before. Someone at Activision Blizzard seems to love the rogues more than other classes. But we are at a point where it just gets ridiculous. And I don't want to be a part of that meter, and I don't want to play inside that meter. So what happened, because rogues are able to do this shenanigans that kind of plays in the early game? Well, the first point is people are quitting Hearthstone. Most important point. But why is that? In my opinion, and I think I'm quite clear with other people, the main reason is mana cheating. Mana cheating is the main reason, and the mana cheat is the reason why all the nerfs in the past were not able to catch that class into a position where it normally can play along with all the other classes. It feels like there are no other classes. We have 11 classes in the game of Hearthstone. They are completely irrelevant. I will investigate the actual state of the meta, and we will investigate the Vicious Syndicate report from yesterday. We will investigate the Hearthstone replay stats also. And we will also investigate what is there without Rogue and without maybe one archetype of Demon Hunter. What is the meta without these decks? So this was the introduction. What is the problem in Hearthstone? And I will see you in the next part of the video, and we will talk about how the meta looks like and what are the statistics. See you over there. Welcome back to part 3, where we will investigate the informations from the last Vicious Syndicate Data Reaper report. And ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce and start with the class and archetype distribution within the higher legend meta from the last week. I will show you the picture now. As you can see, there are Miracle and Thief rogues played by 45.5%. After that, we have the Quest Demon Hunter with approximately 15.73%, and some other Spell Demon Hunter, which brings Demon Hunter completely to 18.8% of class and archetype distribution. If we look further down on the picture I showed to you at the moment, we will see it seems that there are other classes, but the popularity of these classes means no, there are no other classes. If you go to the higher legend meter, as I said before, I'm already in that meter on the European server, there simply is no Hearthstone above Rogue and maybe Quest Demon Hunter. Why is that? Because the Quest Demon Hunter sometimes is able to beat the Miracle Rogue. Why can Quest Demon Hunter beat the Miracle Rogue and not the other classes? Well, the answer is very simple, because Quest Demon Hunter is, with the quest, the only class which can do that kind of mana cheat that the Miracle Rogue does by normal. And all the other classes don't have that kind of possibility to get this amount of mana cheat and do these nonsense turns in the early game. If we move on and have a look at the meter from Vicious Syndicate, I will show it to you right in that moment. We can see there are only two tier 1 decks, which are Miracle Rogue and Quest Demon Hunter, the mana cheat decks. What means tier 1? Tier 1 means these decks are able to bring up a win rate above 50%. We need a win rate above 50% to raise our ranks within the legend ranks. Well, there's a tier 2 deck which hardly fights around 50% of win rate, which is Spitter Hunter. And if we look further on, the tier 3 and tier 4 decks, we cannot play these decks because the average win rate is below 50%. If we play below 50% of win rate, our rank will go down. No one is interested to play Hearthstone losing and decrease his rank. So normally within the legend meter, we pick a class or an archetype which is able to have a constant win rate above 50%. We have 2 decks which are able to do this at the moment. Miracle Rogue, Questline, Demon Hunter. There is no other deck, class, archetype which is able to have a consistent win rate above 50%. This is a little bit sad because it brings down the meter to a point where everyone is simply playing this kind of decks, and which loses so much interactivity because these decks are just for do stupid stuff on turn 3 or 4 and make something which your enemy isn't able to answer. So if we look into the text part of the Vicious Syndicate data report, we find some very funny and interesting words, which I will show you now. Zako over from Vicious Syndicate, greetings mate, was able to investigate that Miracle Rogue is facing its worst matchup, which is the Mirror. The biggest problem for Miracle Rogue is playing against Miracle Rogue. As we already mentioned before, there's also a deck which can beat the Miracle Rogue, which is Questline Demon Hunter. But the people over at Vicious Syndicate were able to identify what I will show you in the picture right now. We've already identified a Miracle Rogue build that no longer loses to Demon Hunter. If Miracle Rogue wants to, it can have a non-unfavorable matchups, whatever. What the Rogue has to do, just cut the Serrated Bone Spike. The card is irrelevant against Demon Hunter because Questline Demon Hunter isn't playing minions. So there's no space for a Serrated Bone Spike to be placed. If a Rogue player just cuts down the Serrated Bone Spike, he will not lose to Questline Demon Hunter anymore. Yeah, so if the Questline Demon Hunter also gets lost, what's left? Miracle Rogue. Nothing else. Nothing else is left. I've never read that kind of sentence. Miracle Rogue is facing its worst matchups, the Mirror. It's so funny, so unbelievable and funny. The best deck in the world of Hearthstone can only be beaten by itself. Okay, I have one last picture from you from the Vicious Syndicate report, which is, let me just investigate, the matchup win rate between other classes. Let me bring it to the front right now. And there you can see the legend matchups. For some strange reasons, the sheet is very empty. We have a lot of white points within this sheet. Why is that? Because there is no data. We see the Rogue line completely filled, mostly green. And we see the Quest Demon Hunter line mostly filled. And there is no data from other classes because no one is playing anything else. As we can see, the Miracle Rogue has a problem with a Plague Priest and Undead Priest. Just imagine playing Plague Priest in the top legend meter. Well, it seems to be a good time, ladies and gentlemen, to play Plague Priest at that moment. Questline Demon Hunter has some unfavorable matchups, but as far as there is nothing else like Questline Demon Hunter and Miracle Rogue, there is not that big danger to face anything else like a miracle rogue. Yeah, I was very confused as I read the report, because it says you just have to cut the serrated bone spike, and you will also win against your only unfavorable matchup, which is Questline Demon Hunter. In the other part, we will talk about the statistics from Hearth Replay. And after that, we will investigate the both decks and see what the main problem is. But this part was just for the meta report from Vicious Syndicate. I hope I was able to bring up some information for you, and I will see you in the next part, right? Okay, welcome back to the next part where we will investigate the statistics from Hearth Replay and compare it with the part we've already done with the Vicious Syndicate report. So at first, let me bring up the meta tier information from Hearth Replay. As you can see in the front right now, same information like from Vicious Syndicate. There is Miracle Rogue and there's Questline Spell Demon Hunter and Aggro Demon Hunter with a constant win rate above 50%. Well, we need that win rate to increase our rank on the Legend meter. If we move on, we can see Shockspitter Hunter hardly fighting around 50% of win rate, and below that there is nothing. There are only decks which where the win rate is below 50%, which means we will decrease our ranks if we would like to play these decks. Which brings us to the same information. There is nothing you can play around Miracle Rogue and Questline Spell Demon Hunter to have a constant win rate above 50% and increase your ranks. After that, I will show you as a second point the popularity of decks within the Legend meter. Let's see the matchup screen at first, where we can compare which archetype is able to beat any other archetype. I hardly look at this sheet every day. But the main point I want to bring up here is on the lower part of the picture, you can see the popularity. And we see that Miracle Rogue has a popularity of 31.21%. And just on the right to that, we can see that Thief Rogue has a popularity of 17.88%. So if we bring these numbers together, we will count it together, and we will see that your chance to meet a rogue on the meter is around 60%. And if we look in the middle of the both parts, we see the Quest Spell Demon Hunter, which comes up with 18.66% of popularity. Which means our chance to meet one of these both archetypes or class distributions is around 78 till 79%. So if you just go to the Legend meta and you want to play some fun games, you will meet for 78% one of these both decks. Which is a little bit sad, and I will bring up the last picture. I made a screenshot for you. This is the popularity sheet from Hearth Replay, and we can see on the Legend ranks that Miracle Rogue is 20.03%, Thief Rogue 15.16%, and Quest Spell Demon Hunter 10.73%. Please do me a favor and look on the popularity of the other decks. You will see Shockspitter Hunter was 6.49, and then it gets a little bit ridiculous. The play rates of other archetypes and classes is around 1%. Not fun, not interactive, and not very welcome. From my point, just make your decisions on your own. I'm just delivering the stats for you. These were the stats from Hearth Replay. And in the last part, we will investigate the decks and why they are so popular, why there is nothing else, and why mana cheat is the main problem in the world of Hearthstone at the moment. See you over there. Ladies and gentlemen, in the last part of this video, I want to investigate the deck structure of the both decks. Which are we talking about? Let me start up with the Miracle Rogue, which I bring up for you right now. This is a very common structure for this kind of archetype. And as we can see, there are no strange things within these decks. The strange part about the Miracle Rogue is whatever you do, just make sure you don't have to spend mana for it. We have Preparation, which reduces the cost of the next spell by 2. We have Shadow Step, which reduces the cost of the next minion by 2. Play it, take it back to your hand, bounce it back, and then play it again without any mana cost. We have the Concoction parts with the Concoter and for sure the Potion Belt. You get these very nice potions. Like the Destroy a Minion potion, and you can mix it together with another Destroy a Minion potion so that you can destroy 2 minions on the board of your opponent. And then we have the Ghoulish Alchemist, which says you have nice potions, but for sure you don't have to pay the 3 mana for them. So if any other class is willing to play against you and is bringing up minions on the board, the Rogue is just mixing together these kill a minion potion and play it for 0 mana. There is no cheaper and easier way to delete any minion on the opponent's board like with the Destroy a Minion potion. And Rogue don't have to spend mana for this in cause of Ghoulish Alchemist. And on the other hand, they don't have any downside, like Obliterate for the Death Knight maybe, which let the Death Knight take 3 damage on his own. You can see the most expensive cards within this deck are Wildpog Gnoll and the Scribbling Stenographer with 5 and 6 manas. A Rogue will never play a Scribbling Stenographer or a Wildpog Gnoll for any kind of mana. These 4 cards come down for 0 mana. That's why it is okay to have these cards in the deck structure. Because a Rogue will always play at least 6 cards from turn 3 on. The only expensive thing within this deck structure is the Sinstone Graveyard, which leads to these enormous minions 16, 16, 19, 19 on turn 4, because the Rogue played 16 cards within 1 turn, turn 4. All the other cards just are there to reduce the mana cost of the most important things, the Concoctions and the Gnolls and Scribbling Stenographers, to an amount of 0. So the complete architecture is built around play as many cards as you can to get the biggest minion from the Sinstone Graveyard and make every card cost 0 mana. On the other hand, I would like to bring up the questline Spell Demon Hunter, as you can see now. The questline Spell Demon Hunter is completely built around the quest, the Final Showdown, which is only there for one reason: cheating mana. On the first part of the quest, you have to draw 4 cards, and their cost will be reduced by 1. On the second part, you have to draw 5 cards, and their cost is reduced by 1. On the third part, you have to draw 5 cards, and their cost is reduced by 1. So by just playing the quest on turn 1, you get the option to reduce 14 cards of your complete deck by 1. No class is able to reduce the cost of 14 cards, except Rogue. what I want to bring up with these information is that manacheat is the main reason why these decks are so strong and so over representative and popular. At last, I want to bring up a picture from Hearth Replay site where we can see the most played cards in the world of Hearthstone. On this screenshot, I will show you the 11 most played cards in the world of Hearthstone at the moment. On the top, we have Astalor with a play rate of 63%. This is ridiculous. It's a neutral card, which is in 63% of all decks. But Astalor is not the main problem, for sure. And then we have Bran, which allows these shenanigans across all classes with a battle cry is most likely compared together with Astalor. And if we move on, we have 9 cards from the deck structure of the Miracle Rogue. So, which brings us to the conclusion, if we look to the 11 most played cards in the world of Hearthstone, we will find 10 cards which are cards built into Miracle Rogue. Another point, like, there is nothing else. And it's all about mana cheat. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to contribute these kinds of information to you. My decision is just play to legend ranks and then quit playing Hearthstone for the rest of the month till we have any kind of interaction from Activision Blizzard to the meta. And what I don't want to see is we are nerfing cards by making them just 1 mana more expensive, like they are, like the nerfs and patches in the last month has been and months, because you can bring up the cost of cards to any amount. These classes are not interested in this card now costs 1 mana more, because you will always reduce the cost by this massive mana cheat to 0. We need a complete overhaul to the structure and the immense of mana cheat. Otherwise, Hearthstone will stay in this state forever. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to inform you about my thoughts on the meta and show you some statistics. Make your own thoughts about that. Some people are happy that Miracle Rogue is that impressive because they like to play Rogue. I guess there are other people on this planet which would like to play the whole amount of classes and cards, maybe thinking about cards which cost maybe more than 5 mana. Well, we paid for that cards and we paid for that classes. And just from my point, I want to play these cards and I want to play these classes just in cause of interactivity. Ladies and gentlemen, my name was Moquai. You can see me on Twitch. I will bring up the link for you on twitch.tv/MoquaiTV, streaming almost 5 or 6 days a week. I will be happy to see you there. And I say goodbye, have a good day, and stop playing rogues. Bye.
Moquai, where heavy metal meets gaming.